Hey everybody, welcome to week 3. There seem to be noticeably fewer of you here. What was the first project that hard? I don't know. Actually, I know where a couple of the guys are. I just came from. You guys know what PSEP is? The internship program that they have. PSU. I think some of you are like in it, or I've met you with things. There was a networking event at Jive Software up over a few blocks away, and I saw some of the guys there, and they'll probably show up, and they did have beer there, so they might be fun to pair program with tonight. I love you, man. Best code ever. Okay. First, I wanted to start off with a couple of things. So the first assignment was due tonight. There was a little bit of discussion of it on the community. How did everybody do? What did everybody think? Are there any open questions or any feedback that you have for me on that? What?
We'll see when we get our grades back what we think.
There you go. Yeah. Anything else? Any questions? I saw there are a couple questions about Project 2 already. Good. Starting early. Anything there? Yeah.
The instructions are kind of vague on how. I mean, there were a few things where I had to be validated. I wasn't sure how much or how little to do. And I thought of all these cases in my head. Is there any minimum that we need to cover all the basic cases mentioned, or should we be everything that you think of?
So I had that you should exit with a nice error message if. Probably do all those. But part of the assignment is to use your imagination. As we saw in the test-driven development, it's easy to sort of come up with, oh, what about this? Oh, what about that? And that's part of software development. So I wouldn't recommend that you censor yourself or you say, oh, that's a ridiculous thing. It's worth testing it. So, but then again, don't stay up until 3 in the morning trying to oh, but what if someone pulls the plug out from the machine, things like that. Not a big deal. That's right. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah.
When we ran Maven's site and it did all that stuff, and then it pops out, I can't remember actually how I got to it, but it was that HTML file.
Mm-hmm.
There's this part on there that it could check all your formatting.
Yeah.
And it blew up red on me. And it was just tons. And I mean, some of them were ridiculous. 7 is a magic number. And I assume that's a joke.
No.
It really is magic.
Magic. No. I'd have to go through it, but I think what you're talking about is either the check style or I guess we're not using FineBooks right now, so it's probably check style. Yeah. There are ways to dial some of that stuff back. And 7 being a magic number is probably its nice way of saying, hey, you should probably have a constant for that instead of the number 7. So maybe I guess maybe when you were parsing your command lines, hey, if args7 equals this, or if args.length equals 7, that's probably saying, hey, you should extract that 7 into a constant that has a better name, maximum args length or minimum args length or something like that. That's. There's a reason that I don't make that part of your grade. I think that's sort of. I wanted to see that. I wanted to show you that A, it could be done. And B, it's pretty easy with Maven. But also, C, I appreciate you looking at it. I think that was a good thing to do. And I think you sort of learned that there's probably some valuable stuff there, and then a whole bunch of stuff is well, hey, in the real world, really, we're not going to go to that level of craziness. But yeah, good. Any other questions for me before we get started?
On assignment 2. How should we handle if the file name matches, but the airline name that they give differs from the one in the file?
That's an error, and the name of the file is specified on the command line. So the name of the file doesn't have anything to do with the airline at all. So the name of the file could be foo.txt, and the airline could be Fred or whatever.
Okay.
So the error is, if you read in the airline from the file, and it's not the airline that was put on the command line. So what's in the file doesn't match the command line. That should be an error. So print an error and exit. Good question.
We're not keeping track of multiple airlines yet.
We're not keeping track of multiple airlines yet, or really at all, I guess. But yeah, maybe in a later assignment, I can't remember. What was that? Maybe the web one does. Yeah, we can talk about that later.
In terms of setting up project 2, would we just use the archetype, project 1, to kind of set up the environment for project 2, and then...
You could create a new project from the archetype, but you could also just take your code from project 1 and continue on. Yeah, which I think has worked well for students in the past. For any of you that watched the bonus TDD episode that I recorded, I did use branches in GitHub. And if you're familiar with branches or you want to learn more about some of the more advanced features of Git and GitHub, one of the things you could do is sort of once you submit your project one, make a branch of that or put a tag there or something like that. So if you need to go back and fix something, anyway, we'll see. I guess we're not going to see branches tonight. We might see forking tonight. Okay. Yeah.
When you submit it, include all your previous files. You don't want a project one file.
If it's needed for project two, yeah. If it's needed for project two, submit it with project one. It doesn't hurt to submit it. So I think in the case of submitting, my advice to students in the past has been don't worry about submitting too much. As long as everything compiles, it's not going to hurt to have an extra file or two. And there have been lots of times where I've gotten a submission and I extract it and it doesn't compile. I was like, oh, I didn't think I needed to submit my error line again. I didn't think I changed it. It's like, just give me everything because it's actually likely that you did change it. And so then, yeah, it's better to send me too much than too little. Good. I had a question for you guys. So there continued to be some debate in the last week about Java 8. And I think there were some questions and there might be some confusion and misunderstanding about the language level versus what we test with and things like that. Is there anybody who cannot use Java 8? So is there anybody, and that was
I could probably force it to work, but it wouldn't be enjoyable. So.
Well, I got to admit, for everybody else, it's kind of not enjoyable to be using Java 7 and all this confusing. So if I went to Java 8, could you figure it out?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So what I'll do in the next couple of days is I'll move everything back to Java 8, and so then you can use the Java 8 syntax if you want. But everything, so you'll have to use Java 8 when you compile, and then when we run your test your programs, that'll be on Java 8 also. Cool deal. Okay. Excellent. And then maybe that'll help motivate me to get a Java 8 lecture up. Okay. Cool. So last time I did a bunch of live coding and did some test-driven development to finish off the student program, and we saw that. And this week it's time for you to do some test-driven development. I'll come back to project 3 at the end, I guess. This is a new experiment. Dave the Grader is here, and he's brought with him a number of USB keyboards kindly donated by the department. I don't know what assisted living community they found these in, but that's some big type right there. My grandma would have no problem with that. I'm trying to escape. Anyway, and what I'd like to do tonight is have you guys do some pair programming. I brought the keyboards because there's kind of an ick factor having someone else use your laptop. I mean, at least I think so. And so then this allows us to do that. So, and what we're going to be working on is the first of several code katas. So for those of you familiar with martial arts, a kata is a practice that you do over and over again. The whole idea is that it's a very a sort of small thing, like a particular movement that you do and you refine. So like a yoga pose or a series of flow in Tai Chi, something like that. And tonight we're going to have a very simple one called FizzBuzz. And really what it is not a very difficult, hard problem to solve or anything, but it's meant to get you practicing test-driven development and pair programming. There's this thing that people do called a coding dojo. So this is like a dojo in karate, right? Where the whole idea is that where people are coding in front of other people, they are practicing their discipline, their martial art, their art in front of others. And we're going to do something kind of like this tonight. So I wanted to start off with a video about that. Oops. No, I want to start off with the right link. Oh, sorry, video, here we go. About coding dojos. Of course, I didn't make sure to see that the...
So what is a coding dojo? Well, first off, And the most important part is really the setting. So if you imagine the setting to, of course, of a single computer, it's attached to some kind of projector, and of course that projector is projecting up on the wall here. And then the other important part is to have a secondary space, usually a whiteboard or a flip chart, where the problem and ideas can be written up there. Along those lines, of course, you've got two pair programmers or spars who are working together, a pilot and a co-pilot, and then you have the dojo participants who are sitting around, usually no more than, I'd say, 12 to 15 people. Okay, so that's the setting. Now let's go on to the people, the roles, and it's important to note that all of these roles have to actually have someone in place at all times and acting as responsible for the job of that role. So, role number one is the sensei. As you can see here, there's no sensei listed, and that's because usually the sensei is somewhere off in the distance in the background, watching and guiding the dojo, not giving instructions or solutions, but rather pathways to the solution. Remember, there is no spoon. Okay, number two, pair programmers. These two people are the spars. One of them is the pilot, so one of them is typing, and it's their job to write down the syntax and start to throw out ideas in a way to be on the offensive, to be the attacker, and to get the ideas up on the board so that the rest of the people can overlook at it and provide other solutions. The other person, the co-pilot, the fellow pair programmer or spar, their job is to look over the other code that's being written by the first spar and to kind of be on the defensive, to try to help and suggest ideas and to kind of quietly whisper in the ear and help the first person. It's very much the idea that these two people are working together. They're not fighting. They're training one another to be able to do the best job in the same way that a kata would be performed in karate. Finally, other than your two pair programmers in the middle, are kind of the advisors. Now, it's really important to notice that all of these people that are around the room, they're all participating at the same time. Oftentimes, they'll hop up and they'll write on the problem board themselves. They'll shout out answers if they see something done differently by the primary pilot programmer. And then the other important thing to notice here is that everyone has to take an opportunity, a chance to be a pilot and a co-pilot. So you'll very much have people switch out and to take their opportunities. Usually about 15 to 20 minutes, someone will sit in the pilot and co-pilot seat and then switch out. So usually you'll take your first go as the pilot because you'll need to learn how to type the syntax. And then once you're kind of getting the idea of how to type the syntax of the code, you'll have the second co-pilot who can then swap over and help advise the new person coming in. So everyone in the entire programming dojo must participate. Which brings us to the rules, actually. So let's go on to the rules of the coding. So now let's go to the rules of the dojo. So one of the most important parts is, number one, the sensei asks questions, does not give answers. And so the real point about the sensei, who's obviously kind of somewhere in the background to this activity, is just providing guidance. There is no spoon. They're just teaching you how to move forward. Often the problem that they give or the challenge they give is given beforehand, usually a week in advance by email, so people have time to think about it. All right, rule number two. All must participate in code being written. And what it means by that is that all of these participants around the edge who need to take their turn in the middle at some point, all of these people need to be watching the primary coding board. So what's going on with the two sparring partners and what they're writing. They need to be looking up here and participating and ideally helping contribute by suggesting solutions. They should not have their own computers out. Not really. They should be, unless they're trying to look up stuff or something else. I mean, there's no strict rules, but ideally they're not coding by themselves. They're trying to team code and help this person learn as much as the rest of them will have help themselves when they code. Finally, rule number three, everyone must participate in sparring, which means that everyone must take their turn as pilot and co-pilot in both typing and also helping teach how to type. So this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, so forth and so on. Every single person should switch out at some point, come and take their turn to type, and then swap out and take their turn on helping to advise and all the rest of it and give solutions. So that, in essence, is the Coding Dojo. Cheers.
Okay. Turn down that buzzing. we're not going to do exactly that tonight. I don't think anybody is ready to like be up here in front of everybody else. That's kind of a little daunting, even for me. But it's not too daunting for him. So what we're going to start out with is that Greater Dave and I are going to do some pair programming in front of you guys. And you're all those people all those stick figures in the chairs around the room, and you're gonna help us if you see something that's going on, or maybe like if there's something that we either can't agree on or have a question about. We're gonna ask you for help, and we're gonna get started on a code kata of our own, and then after a break, we're gonna pass out the keyboards. You guys can pair up and then work on a different kata for you guys. And what we'll do is every 20 minutes or so, we'll sort of check in. And the way we're going to share what we've done is through a Google Hangout, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So Dave, how about you come up? And we're going to each use our own laptop because we want to see. I want to show you some features of GitHub that'll help do this. So how about we start with my laptop? How get yours open and sort of get it all worked out, and I'll introduce the kata to the class here. Oops. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah. So here is the kata that we'll be doing. So there's this codingdojo.org, a site that has a whole bunch of katas. And the one that Dave and I are going to start on is called Kata Numbers in Words. And basically what it's doing is it's a simple program that you give it a number, and then you write that number in words like you're writing it on a check. Remember those checks? Like probably your mom still uses, right? So when the number 745.00 is entered, you get the word $745. And so this is, as you can imagine, not terribly difficult and not necessarily terribly applicable to the real world. But I think it's another good example of test-driven development. It's probably actually a better example than that student project that we did. So let's see here. So to get started, I was thinking about taking the archetype for the student project and sort of generating a project, a Maven project with that. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's see if you guys can see that okay. Okay, so I got to find that big ugly command line from the, let's see here, I don't need that, from the student assignment up here in week 1. Oh, actually, no, student was week 0. So let's look for the big old command line. So I'm going to create one of the student archetype and sort of like rename a bunch of stuff and remove some stuff that we don't need. I'm going to do it here in this directory because that's going to be, I'm going to put it in GitHub eventually, and actually we're going to share it via GitHub.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, right. Same old problem, doesn't like the magical electric tilde. Electric tilde, that's going to be my new rock band. No, it's really stupid.
That's a really good idea.
No, I don't think that's a really bad idea. Whitlock, and let's see here. That's the group ID, right? The artifact ID. What should we call this thing? Numbers. Yeah, numbers and words. Check. Numbers and words.
Maybe not.
That's lame. Kata, something. Check kata.
Check kata.
Yeah, and we'll use the American spelling, not the QUE. Is it? This is a French site, and so then they have the flavor and stuff like that, and favorite. Yeah, the dollar sign at the end. Yeah, I'm surprised it wasn't a little pound sign
Might come into more of that
euro.
kind of issues later.
What was I gonna call it? Check kata.
Check kata. What is?
Check. Oh, and let's see here. Kata. Can I have a dash in it? And now I'm going to do camel case. Well, I can always fix it later. Check kata version 1.0 snapshot package, my package. Super awesome. Okay, I got a bunch of stuff now. Oops. That was capital C, wasn't it? Check kata. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add it to GitHub. Git add dot. And so git status. Oh, that's right, it's only got these 3 classes. Okay, there are these 3 files. That's good. So git commit added files from archetype. Oops. From archetype. Do you see this okay? Is this a good height for you? You're kind of a little taller than I am.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, well, actually, And we also we can get it on this screen, but it's like wrong proportion. That's super awkward looking.
No,
So
that's
maybe-
good.
Is that
Yeah,
good? I wonder if I can turn it so you can see it a little better.
Okay. Yeah,
Maybe. Awkward. This is why, like, actually, yeah, probably maybe next time we can steal a desk or something like that, and just so we're sitting next to each other, might be a little
Okay,
better. I don't know.
cool.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. Okay, so commit that stuff to GitHub, and actually I'm going to do a git push to send it back to. Commit it to Git, push it back to GitHub. Let's just make sure it's there. Let's see here. Here's the summer 2014. 14 seconds ago. Check kata.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
good. It's there, and you got it. You can see it on yours. Good.
13 seconds ago, yeah.
There you go. Okay, so now I want to let's open up IntelliJ. What am I looking at here? I'm going to close that project. I'm going to open up a new project. I'm going to import a project from my Git and summer 2014. Check kata. There it is. It's a Maven project. This is all a rerun from last time. I want to use 1.8. Yeah, that's good enough. Okay, it looks like it's got everything, like my palm and things like that. Okay, so I've got all this student stuff. I really
Maybe just get rid
don't
of
want it. Yeah, I should probably just delete both of these files. It's going to have. Actually, I'll create the other ones first. I'll create the new ones first. Oh, and this thing's not going to compile. So, well, I'll create the new files first. So let's create a test first, a Java class, and we'll call it what? Numbers. We want to call the. What do I call this?
Num to words test, maybe?
Number to words test. That's good. I like that. And let's just do a quick like hello world just to make sure everything compiles. So public void hello world assert that hello equal to oops, hello create a static import, sure, ham crest. Okay, and so now, oh actually no, why don't we just write our first unit test? This is silly.
All right.
Yeah, okay.
Well, so we just have a function, right, that's going from numbers to words.
Probably,
so
yeah.
maybe it's just like it's just all static stuff, or
Yeah, let's start out with that.
okay.
So like what should our first test be?
Just seeing if we can just kind of call the function with some simple value, maybe
Okay.
like 1.
1? Okay.
Yeah.
So 1, okay, start with 1 is 1. That's I can't have that. So
Oh.
number 1 is 1. Yeah, you can't start method names with a number.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So let's see here. And so like yeah, if this is number towards test, so you can have wait a second, sorry, assert that number to words dot number to words of 1 equal to 1.
It would be.
You want $1?
$1, I think. And
$1?
Is it
Oh, let's see what the kata says. That's a good point. If I was writing a check, I'd probably capitalize it. Let's see here. Yeah, they're all lowercase there. Okay. $1. And so we will create that class. We'll create in the source directory. And then we'll go back. We'll create this method. Create, it's a string, number of words. Let's call it number.
Would that be a string or would that be an int? Because it's got that funny $sign. And
Oh, well, it's a good point. The test doesn't have a $sign. Should we have the, that needs to go away.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I think it's okay.
Okay.
Like, why bother having the parsing logic? I think that's okay.
Cool.
Oh, and you know what? I think eventually we want it to be like a double, right? Because we want sense. It doesn't really talk about it, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's just have this be 1.00. And then we can say change first parameter of method blah to double. Okay. Good. That should blow up. let's see here. I want to run this test and run this. I'm going to start doing Control Shift F10 though, because that whole right click, I don't know, gives me carpal tunnel or something. I don't know. Okay, it's complaining about student, but you know what? I don't want student anymore, so I'm just going to delete that. Delete. And yes, look for usages. It has 3 usages that are not safe to delete. Delete anyway. Okay. Student test is probably all messed up now. Actually, it's probably not. Oh yeah, it is. Okay. So I'll delete this guy also. Okay, now I'll try running this dude again. Okay, accepted $1, but was null. Okay, so now we're in the red. Okay, so now let's make it green.
All right.
Numbers to words. What do you need to do to make it green?
Return $1. Work.
All right, that'll work. Yay, we're green. Okay, any refactoring? No.
Looks straightforward. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's commit this, but it doesn't know about GitHub. Let's see here. Enable version control. This is Git.
I'm surprised IntelliJ isn't smarter.
I know, and
It's earlier videos and
Yeah.
stuff automatically.
I know, yeah. So it must be something about the way I've created the project, or
There's
Project
setting they
root
turned off.
isn't the same as your get root.
what was that?
Your get root is one up from your project root, so it didn't have.
Oh, so it wasn't smart enough to check it. Okay, that might explain it. Yeah. So let's see here. It's deleted these 2, unversioned files 2. So I need to add these 2. I'm gonna do that with plus. Oh, that's change list. Wait a second. Now let's right click. Add to VCS. Cool. Now I got a couple of greens, a couple of grays. So let's commit it. Oops, not just that one. I want to check all of them. Nice. Okay. Got rid of student classes from archetype. Added classes for the number 2 words kata.
Also the test for 1.
Oh yeah, classes. Oh yeah, and right, simple test for $1. I'll commit that. I'm going to push. What are the warnings? Oh, probably unused parameters because we haven't done anything with the numbers. Okay, that's cool. Push that up to GitHub. Is it there? Oops, not that one. Yep. Okay, cool. Okay, your turn.
Switch over here?
So here's what we're gonna do. Yeah, I'm gonna start the Google Hangout, oops. Yes, we are. That was the thing from the other night. That was fun. You missed it, guys. Start a video Hangout. So I'll put it on the So let's see here. Join this Hangout so we can share our screens during class. I'm going to invite you guys. Attendees must be 18 or older. Let's see here. It's this one I want. Okay, that's the community. Chin cam.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's no. There is no good angle. I'm glad I shaved this morning. Okay, so are you getting on it, Dave?
I am on.
Okay, ready to join? Click join. Her post has been shared. See what we got. Hey, who's that? Okay, right on. So let's. Okay, so this is still being recorded. So I'm going to maximize this over here, and so this is being recorded. I'm going to hand you the VGA, and I'm going to unplug this because I don't think we need sound. Except we're getting feedback. Quick, shut up. There we go. Okay, good. Let's see here. That's still recording. Yeah, it looks like you can hear me. Okay, and let's see here. Here's the VGA. Yeah, it's getting there. We'll be able to see it here, I think.
I think that's.
Oh, it's your
desktop.
second screen? or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah, you need to mirror it.
how do I do that?
Here, right click on there. Oh, on the background. No, you're over here on the other screen.
Oh.
Oh, that's really weird. Yeah.
Uh,
No, other. Go to the left. Other. There you
the left,
go.
there we go.
Yeah. Okay, and then maybe screen resolution, or will that help you? There you go. And then multiple displays, duplicate. Oh, okay. I think that'll do it. Try that. My little computer's working hard. Okay, that looks good.
okay.
Okay, and now go back to the Hangout,
All right.
and can you share your screen? So I think you could go over there. Is that one screen share? Yeah. How's that looking? Okay. Get me off it. Let me see. Super awesome. Okay, no, it's okay. Just so, how about you go back to GitHub then? So here's what we're going to do. I committed my changes off to my GitHub repository, and Dave has forked my repository. What does that mean, forking a repository?
Forking is making sort of like a branch in your account. So it's kind of copying things over, but it's like the changes I make to it isn't going to affect your account. Is that?
Yeah, I mean that's totally it. So, right. So I've got my GitHub repository with all like my code that I've authored, and Dave forked it. So go to your fork.
I'm going to fork it this week.
I think you already have. Oh no, I guess it's the other one. Okay, cool. So yeah, he's forking it now.
Forking it just in.
Yeah, it's a little photocopy.
Should take a piece,
Yeah. Okay, and there you go.
And then the next thing to do would be to go to where I want and clone it by just kind of grabbing that URL from down here. And
I think you want the HTTPS or do you want the SSH one? I bet you want the SSH one.
oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. What is the? Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Right, but with SSH, you've like uploaded your public key there, and so it does just the SSH handshaking and all that good stuff.
Okay, so yeah, and then so after forking it, I'm just copying that URL into a git clone command. And should all be there now. Yeah, there it is. And so now, check kata. So now I'm going to just open it up in IntelliJ. Import project.
We're getting really good at this import project stuff, aren't we? Second time command. Exactly right. Git ignore is actually in the Git repository, so when he forked it and then cloned it to his local machine, it got the Git ignore. Yeah. And that's a good point. He like forked the entire Portland State Java Summer 14 repository, and so he's got like the student program I did last week, and like when I started the katas, right, he's got all of that. What happened? Oh, it's just
slow,
the
I think.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, between the Google Hangout and everything else, probably, I mean, like my machine's about ready to take off here. The fan's going so high. Okay.
All right, so should we go on to the next test here?
Yeah. Okay. So I'll actually run this test just to make sure it works. I guess.
Okay.
Let's just make sure that that's working okay. Oh, and actually, you don't have the Git menu either. So how about you do?
Yeah,
Yeah,
pull
how about
that
you do
up.
that? You got all sorts of extra options. I guess. Yeah. Just thinking about it. Yeah, we can do that. Or another trick that I learned is when you double click the tab up there, it it minimizes all the other windows. Yeah, it's amazing. Okay. Well, let's look at it. Oh, look at all that.
So
What is all that?
I made a bunch of XML files.
What was that?
So we don't need any of those, right?
Yeah.
Remember, don't ask again.
Huh, interesting. Yeah.
Okay, so test is
Okay,
passing.
test passed. Okay.
So what is the next test that we want to do here?
Well, I mean, let's do 2. Maybe.
Okay.
I'll use the tab.
Oh.
Pad 1. Or sorry, it's 6 1. You control it.
2.00 equal to $2, right?
Yep.
Let's see.
Yes, the orchestra. Okay, so
All right, so there's
All right.
there's another thing is that we had $1 there before. Too. So what do you think we should do here?
well, let's see here. First of all, it's like we really got 2 strings, right? We've got like the number 1 and then
Yeah.
dollar or dollars.
Yeah.
So we should probably, well, let's see here. So we should like break. So we like one piece of logic that determines like what the number word should be, and then another piece of logic that determines what the dollars should be.
So should we just break these up into 2 different functions?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Get. It's refactor, extract into method, whatever that.
Control Alt M.
Control Alt M on Windows. So get, what should we call the number function?
How about convert number to word? Is it?
Number words.
Yeah, let's see. We want 5 bits.
Oh,
And then
and it would take
well, I guess we can
deal with that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then for this one,
Let's keep the space out of the.
that's okay.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
that separately somehow.
Yep. Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, what did you do to do the expression? Is that just part of the control?
Control Alt M.
Oh, okay. So the M it highlighted the expression. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's telling you it's prompting you for which expression you want to extract. Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
get dollar.
The dollar word.
Get dollar word?
dollar.
Okay.
Always refactor later.
All right. And so
Right now, Uncle Bob's crying.
we're doing this all wrong.
Yeah.
So we want to get $2 to pass, right?
Yeah.
So,
I think we need to pass the number to both of those.
that's right. Yeah. Let's see. Change signature again.
Well, you know what I would do? I would just type in number
Okay.
between the parens there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then we'll figure it out.
Yeah. And then it'll give you a. Is it? Yeah. Alt Enter. Yeah.
Double as first parameter.
Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah, Alt Enter. Double as first parameter. Okay, so we have the double there. We're gonna have to get. Let's see. So for the dollar word, if it's 1, it's dollar, and in all other
everything
cases
else
it's
dollars. Yeah, I think that's about right.
if
Yeah.
number dot or wait,
Well, it's a
yeah, not an
yeah,
object.
yeah, yeah, you say number equals, right?
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
primitive.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Number equals. Simplest thing we can do here would be 1.00. Return result.
Oh, okay, I think this will work well for now, but later on, if we have sense, the number that we'll pass in will be an int. But this is cool for now.
Okay.
Right? We'll see. Yeah, so we'll change that later, I think.
Something's really funky with my margins here.
So, okay.
I don't know why.
Right, yeah, it's like Control-Alt-L or something like that.
Control-Alt-L.
Yeah, reformat code. Sure. It's beautiful. Or, 4 spaces? I like 2 spaces. Oh, this will be interesting, because like we're using different code formats. It'll be like battle of the network races here.
Yeah.
And so, like, actually, let's fix that. So,
Okay.
are we going to decide 2 or 4? 2?
No. 2?
2.
Let's do 2.
I say 2.
Okay.
And I think you're missing some braces.
Oh, yeah.
So,
So, should I change that around? The spacing now, or
sorry, what?
should I change the spacing around now? Or?
Let's get it working first. That'll be a good
Okay.
refactor, right? We'll put it on our blue hats or
Okay,
whatever.
I think it might still not work.
Yeah,
We don't
you're
have
still
to-
missing I think you're still missing a
Oh,
brace
yeah.
there.
Oh, I see.
It's not the,
Okay,
okay,
so no red there.
okay, so let's run it again and see what we got.
I think we might still be missing spaces.
I think you're right too. Let the unit SPO guide.
Oops.
That's good. The only one with that?
I think I
only
accidentally
ran
just
one.
ran one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, hit the run. Yeah. So hit that second button, second icon, which is like run only the ones that failed.
All right, so $2. Same thing somehow, but $2.
You get that click to see differences. Oh yeah, that's. So this is a nice little thing. So remember, like last week, I don't know why I didn't have that. What version of IntelliJ are you running? Is it 13?
13. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so I wonder why.
Yeah.
Maybe there's like an extra plugin that I need or something. This is a super cool thing. So like remember last week when we were rushing towards the end and I had the whole like 2-string for the student and it was like 27 characters long. It was really hard to figure out the difference. Well, so your IntelliJ is configured to have when there is an assertion failure in your unit test, you can get more details of it by clicking on this click to see differences. But anyway.
Okay, so looks like we're missing the spaces here. Huh?
Yep.
How do we make that path?
Yeah, go back to the main class. I think I remember where it was. I probably should have pointed it out, but I didn't want to drag it flow. I think right in between the calls of the 2 methods,
Right,
just need to add
right.
space.
So one space.
Okay.
Both passed.
So let's refactor and get the code formatting right. So how do we do that? Is it this icon up there? It's one of those guys. Is that what is that? Project structure? Project settings. Go a couple over. What's that little icon right there? Sorry. So history. No. How about we just search with a little magnifying glass and look for indent? Auto indent lines. There the code formatting actions. What do we do? Oh, do the auto indent. Yeah, you remember where was it?
Like highlighted?
Oh, with preferences. No, there it is. How do you, yeah.
No, is it?
Oh yeah, there it is. File settings. Yeah. Control Alt S, of course. That makes sense. And here, actually, here is much better search. You can search up there for indent. That is, oh, right there. Yeah. Okay.
Two.
Actually, let me see what mine is over here on my IntelliJ. So let's see here. File, project structure. No. Import settings. Mine looks completely different than yours. Is it because I'm on Mac? Oh, I know why. Because I have to go up here, preferences. And then indent. It's
General.
Oh, code style, general. 4, 4, and 8.
That's what it was
Oh,
before.
yeah. So how come I was doing 2? Is there Java?
Mine's
No, my Java tab size is 2, 2, and 2.
oh, okay.
So yeah.
Change the Java size to 2.
I know we're losing the audience here.
2.
And 2. All right.
There we go.
Oh, did we format everything?
Yeah.
Let's run the test one more time.
Okay.
Okay. Let's publish it to GitHub.
Okay. So we can do that right from IntelliJ. Changes. Unversion files.
It's, wow, you got all sorts of stuff there. Oh, yeah, the .idea directory. Huh. Let's add the .idea directory to gitignore.
Okay.
And actually, maybe we should do that from... Let's go... can you break out the command prompt? It might be the easiest way to do it. Or do you have like VI or something? Oh! Well, can you...
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
Just down there.
Yeah, this is like... It's not going to have like VI or
Oh,
anything,
it's
right?
fine.
You run with that Sigma or something?
I can do it.
Oh, no, wait, that's... Yeah, I mean... Okay. So it's probably hidden. Just do
Okay.
yeah, that gitignore.
Yeah, it's
Right,
like git
so-
bash. So
Right, but we basically have it. He's on Windows, and so he's going to get like he's not going to VI on from the Windows command prompt, right? But he's got it from is it Sigma?
From-
What is this?
this is git, the bash shell.
All right, cool. Okay, so yeah, just add down at the bottom.
Okay.
So yeah, got it.
Okay, what was it again?
So star / dot idea / star maybe. Yeah, just leave it like that. How annoying is it having someone like shouting VI commands into your ear? Oh, what do you ZZ? Okay. Okay, so let's see. You probably need to synchronize by clicking the little, there's the swirly arrows. Let's see what that does. Does that work? No, it doesn't. Right. So, well, I don't know about that, but yeah, do commit the changes, but uncheck the code style and UI designer, right? So, oh yeah, or just like everything that, yeah. So, okay, that's all good. Yeah, okay,
So-
right on.
Added test for 2.00. And
Right,
informative
yeah.
to work plus.
Yep.
So we do a minute
Push.
push here.
Yes. Yeah. No, I think you want. Well, this is like it's saying, hey, you've got the code style settings XML and UI designer XML. You don't really want those in Git, so let's move them off to a different change set and just call it. Yeah. So you were gonna say something.
Well, I think we use it, but what does it do then?
Just gets it out of the way. That's right. And so we can take care of that later. In this case, yeah, I think if he makes another change, he'll go to default, and we can just commit from default. Okay. Okay. Let's go look at your GitHub.
Okay.
Oh, look at that. It's like, hey. That's one of those things that they put in the brochure, right?
It looks like
Professors who are there for you at Portland State. Okay.
It looks like it.
Cool. There it is. Okay, great. So it's in your repository. I want to get back to my repository. That's a great test I want to do. How are we going to do that?
Wait.
So we need to get it from your repository to mine.
So do I do a pull request?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pull request. I can't remember. Do you make a pull request from your repository or from mine? I think you go to mine. And it's like,
Okay.
Because so imagine how this works. Sorry, what?
Oh, this one?
Okay, well, that'll do it. Yeah. So it's. Oh,
This one then.
no, those are just examples.
Okay.
Oh, so where's.
Is it from mine?
Okay, that's right. That's right. From over. Oh, yeah, that's totally it. So, actually, can you go back one?
Yeah.
Nope, try again. Sorry. So let's take a look at what GitHub. So, okay. So, imagine that I'm the maintainer of some big open source project, and Dave wants to contribute to it. I've got my code in GitHub, my repository. You've just gone off and added this really great feature. And now he wants to say, hey, me, Dave, I've got this really great feature that I've implemented. Here, have a look. So what he creates is a pull request. And pull is Git parlance from moving code from one repository or one branch of a repository into another. And so GitHub has this really nice interface where it was easy for it to say, okay, I want to compare the code that's in Dave's repository to the code that's in my repository. Here are all the differences, so he can review them before he submits the request to me. Because you don't have permission to commit to my repository.
Right.
Or maybe you do. I can't remember if I added you or not. But let's pretend he doesn't. And so he wants to push it. Oh, well, that's interesting. So it did mess with the
spacing.
The spacing. Yeah, well, okay, fine. We can figure it out. I don't want to drag him through all of this.
Yeah.
Okay. So now he has a chance to review all of his changes and come up with a really great message. My dearest David, here is my awesomest code, and things like that. It creates a new repository. So fork creates a new repository that's off in under his account in GitHub. And this is moving his changes from his repository. And literally what we'll do is we'll take the revision, so it'll have this complete commit history and everything like that, and move it into mine. Is that a question, or just stretch it, or just flex it? Okay. Okay, let's create the pull request.
Okay. Updated code. Is it like this kind of message? Or?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Create pull request. Okay, and notice that he's back on. It's good. Yeah, it's back on my page. So let's go back to my machine, and so let's see here. Can I have the VGA back?
Yes.
And you can stop sharing your desktop now for the time being. Oops. There we go again. Okay, so now, you can see that okay? Okay, so now I'll go back up here, and I'll refresh. Since I've got one pull request, which is also an issue. Oh, look, here it is. I can see that, okay, add test for 2.0, reformatted work across computers. I can click on this. It shows me that he made this request. Here's like the code that I can look at. So I can go and I can examine the code. I can go and look at this. GitHub allows me to do stuff like make comments on it. Like, oops. Try it again. I can make comments on it. Oh, I need to click over here. Sorry. It's like, this code is not indented correctly. Well, there are good reasons. As a matter of fact, I think Uncle Bob in one of his videos talks about that. Stuff like, sorry, I want to see my stuff here. Stuff like indenting matters, right? Because you don't want to have to like when people are sharing code, when you see someone else's code, you don't want it to be jarring. You don't want it to be like, oh, I need to think about how to interpret this. You just want to be able to read it. Anyway, and so I can say, should we fix it? Fix it? Nah, I'll do it later. So I can make a comment here. And then that kind of shows up in Dave's stuff and everything. But okay, and so then I can comment on the commit as a whole, or I can look at numbers, et cetera, et cetera. And now I can go back to well, let's go back to my issues again, or my pull requests. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm off on his repository. Right, I made a comment actually on his code in his branch. Now I can go back to the the pull request. I can say, yeah, I like it. It's telling me it can be automatically merged, which means that there are no conflicts. So if both he and I had changed the same file and Git couldn't reconcile those changes, then I'd be like, hey, conflicts, you need to do some extra work to figure out how your changes that conflict with Dave's changes all mesh up. But we don't have to do that because we were nice and careful. I say, yeah, I like these changes.
And nobody can actually see his full stuff until after you.
No, totally. Oh, in GitHub, everything's open.
Okay.
So like, yeah, you guys can go, check it out, play along at home, and you can see this too, and you can comment on it too.
Before you actually even
Right.
accept it.
Yeah. So the whole idea is that he's put it out there for everybody to see. Now, if we were working on a private repository, yes, but in GitHub, this is the public repository, so everybody can see it. So I'll merge it in. And
Right
let's,
now, before you can review it,
yeah.
there is a branch on your repo for this pull request, and so other people can check out this pull request and actually fix something for him for you. So if something you make a comment on,
Right.
like this isn't formatted right, or change the spelling, somebody else can jump in, fix that one last thing, and then you can merge.
How do you get that branch? I didn't realize, is there a branch, or is it like I have to apply this change?
It goes GH number, where the number is the number of the issue, so GH2 is the name of the branch.
Oh,
So you have to pull the remote branch.
I did not know that. Well, that's pretty cool. Okay. We won't do that now because I think they deserve a break after sitting through all of this. So let's see here. Actually, wait a second. I want to merge it. And I think this is where I put it there. Yep. And so looks good to go. And I'll add this comment. Okay, right. And then actually the commit message is right here. And I will confirm the merge. Yay, it says it's all merged now. Oh, I can revert it if I didn't want it. And now when I go back to the code, oh, we'll see that there is a commit that I made 13 seconds ago. But if we look at all of the commits, we see here's Dave's and along with all of mine. So this is cool, right? So like now we're collaborating. Now we're sharing back and forth. And so the last thing I want to show is back in IntelliJ. So here, this is like, so on GitHub, this is like what's there on GitHub. In my local machine, I need to get those changes. I need to, pull them down. I need to pull them down into my local checkout, and I can do that with this update project button right there. That will go and get all the latest changes from GitHub. So fetching the stuff from GitHub down here. And poof, there it is. So we're sharing code back and forth through GitHub. We're collaborating on GitHub. I can give them feedback on the code, all of that stuff through through GitHub, and we've got this really nice history that shows who made which changes. Let's take a little break, and then when we come back, it'll be your turn to work in pairs on a kata of your very own. So let's take 10 minutes. We'll be back when the big hand is on the 3. Thank you.
I saw that issue. I thought I fixed it, but I think I just fixed it for like one project.